Like that, we're back. Right. Oh dear, hold on. There is an overlap. I could have sworn I fixed everything. No. Detec, damn. Alright, let's go over to stream ping. There we go. Working as intended. Hi there, Nosferatu. Dude, I'm not reading your name. Wow. Right off the bat, I feel like I'm gonna get a stiff neck with this angle. I may have to adjust just like this. There we go. Does this work? A little better. I can't quite get the angle I had in the bar side rail, can I? Hiccups too. My goodness. Talk about stream hiccups. But yes, alas, we are live. We are here and back. I have thoroughly enjoyed the weekend. I have done a bit of gaming, yes. Maybe here. This is better. I think it's better. There. Yep, okay. From the right always. Gib, I hope you've been okay. Hi, Axim. Of course, you know me. I'm always alright. Then again, now that I think about it, I was facing the other way, wasn't I? Let's check the other pins. Pin 2, there we go. Behave. Wow, hiccup. Okay, there's that. Oh, God, goodness. TikTok can't see anything. There we go. There's pin 2, pin 3. Pin 3 is our good old establishing shot, not for the faint of horizontal viewing space because TikTok cannot see anything except the denizens around us. Man, it's gonna be a lot of empty space. Sorry, TikTok. Zeltifi, not even a hi, not even a hello, not even any form of greeting, just jump straight to what asset is the thing you are using? That is the breath fog coming out of your mouth. Yeah, you Google it on your own, pal. Hi, Gib. I like the little particles coming out of your mouth. I wonder what it is. Is it okay if I ask? I remember making a specific video about people asking things from a streamer, but completely skipping the very basic courtesies. Oh my goodness, you're with someone, of course. That's Vesper. Who else?
Yeah.
You see, Vesper normally is unable to join me during weekends because she has work.
Not agent work, just work.
Just work. She has to do a retail job on the side of her agent stuff. So, yes. No. Yes. Hello, Amber. Glumps. Oh, why if it isn't Glumps? My goodness. You know what's funny? A Glumps here, my IRL friend. I remember started VTubing as a dinosaur girl too. Albeit more girl than dino. I kind of took the whole Jurassic DNA, 99%. Yes, how are you? I know a certain demon wants to catch up with you and a little gossip. Kaisai, Oliver. Oni, yes. I'm so excited to catch the stream. Hold on, let me expand OBS. I can see more of your chat. I think my little tongue flick is triggering a bit much. Maybe I just have to get used to it. Anywho. How are you? Hope you're doing well. Zelty is now starting to go to the proper steps of, you know, having good manners. Hi, Katie. It's actually my first time seeing Vesper. Cool, Avi, Vesper. Do you want to see how
Thank
Vesper
you.
looks? I wish there was like... Hold on. Maybe I can't work it. Maybe Vesper just needs to turn and face the camera. She unfortunately is in a rather shaded part of town, which... Yeah, that's how she looks, chat. A little dark. I have a feeling we need to move to a different place in the district the next time we stream.
Maybe.
We have been loitering a whole lot here at the boxes and the what I assume are homeless. Yeah. Anywho. Where were we? Is this your new streaming schedule? Yes. Hi, I'm sneaking in stream, listening on my phone onto work. Matthew says he has no audio, but he is watching. Okay. So you're just trying to read what I'm saying via my lips. Okay. Thank you, Blue Demon. I'm not feeling it today. The aesthetic just isn't blending properly.
Gar point.
Oh my. It's already been 2 months. I felt like we've just been friends for 2. And best friends for a lifetime. I am lagging. Hi there, Kai. Thank you so much for 2 months. Man, 60 days. That's not a small amount of time. This is my new stream schedule, chat. This is when I have the most energy for things. Before, I would always have to rely on my alarms and whatnot to hopefully jolt me back into waking. But whenever I stream here at like 9 or 10 p.m. or 10:30 like tonight, I have enough energy reserves in order to keep you guys company for longer. If the situation calls for it. Hi, Soba. Hi, Gab. 2 months of vibes. I was worried you haven't been popping into the VCS of late. Let me guess, you've been consumed by work, comms, and whatnot. A full plate of tasks only your artistic hand can get yourself out of. Another 5 hours. I don't know about 5 hours. Hi there, Oni. My weekend has been just okay. Spartan. Yes, Blue Scales, I will be updating my Discord and whatnot. Thank you, Garmon.
5 hours?
5 hours, I don't know. If by some miracle, sure, why not?
But that means I would have to dip at some point in the stream to go get some lunch because I woke up not too long ago.
That is true. You see, Vesp here just woke up, freshened up a bit, had some breakfast, and then hopped into, VR chat. Whoa. Cashier sound on that. I gotta pan that thing back to me.
Whoa.
I see you're the one who's starting to warm up the oven for tonight's stream. Thank you, Mr. Monster. Oh, it does work, doesn't it? And so, just like that, our Blue Arrow Foundation Fund has been progressed by 33%. What do you know? Also, depending on... Let me tell you something important, by the way, chat. I just have on Discord yet. But tomorrow, I will be scouting for new apartment units because well, I am starting to feel the limitations of my very small play space. So tomorrow, I'm gonna check the other units, the 1 bedroom or 2 bedroom ones. The rent's gonna be higher, but it's something I've been meaning to do. Maybe my dream bike can wait for a bit. I think moving into a bigger space and being able to like VR properly, like walk around and whatnot, like how I cannot do right now, is more important than that. So, long story short, I might just have my first ever proper fundraiser. Help Geb move out. If you want to see Geb move more and give you even more immersive and better VR chat presentations and videos, presentation sounds like I'm doing Excel sheets. Well, we gotta get to a bigger unit, don't we? Yeah, so and I hope I can find one tomorrow in which has like a proper bedroom for like my sleeping so it's not shared with my VR place. And then I have like a proper big play space, like a sala, so I can like move around and walk. Yeah. So that's the thing is it's a bit expensive. I will be having to pay twice my rent. And I have to pay the security deposit and then 2 months advance, so that's 3 months worth of rent right in one go. I have to buy a new furniture for it because the room layout was different. I have to buy a bigger AC because my small window one is not gonna cut it, among other things. The small miscellaneous expenses are they're necessary. New flooring. I have to paint it. I have to fix the plumbing again because it doesn't have a water heater. And oh boy, that's a lot, huh? But yeah, I'll tell you how it goes tomorrow. Hi there, Beth. Sorry, I missed more presentations. I, for one, I'm looking forward to the PowerPoint stream. PowerPoint stream. Moving places is always expensive. Me and my boyfriend says Oni have been looking for a while. I know. It's because when I went down earlier to pick up my food, the building administration told me, "Hey, you've been staying with us for a few years. Don't you want to upgrade, like, to a better room? We have a few units free." And I said, "You know what? Sure. I'll check it out tomorrow." So, yeah, there's that. Hi there, Libid. Great news, you deserve a bigger living space. Man. I told myself I would be living in this small studio-type apartment until I'm able to save up for a house, which is probably never ever gonna happen. So might as well go to a bigger unit, right? So it's expensive. Oh god, I don't know how I'm gonna go about it, really. Well, like the fundraise. Let's see. I'm getting embarrassed talking about it. I feel like I'm burdening other people with my goals. So yeah.
When does the fundraising start?
Oh gosh, Beth, thank you so much. Not anonymous anymore, I see. The fundraising, let me go scout the units tomorrow first. Tomorrow is when they're going to tour me with the 2 or I hope 3 available units. I have to make sure the layout of the room is how I need it, like a big rectangle area, and I have to check how the bathrooms are, where the slot for the AC is. The AC in my apartment isn't the split types, like the rectangular sausage thing you put on top. Mine is the window type, the one you slide into a rectangular hole in the wall. So that's a consideration. It's expensive. An AC is like $600. Ay, new bed. Oh God. Ugh. The expenses are a headache. Ooh. Oh, I'll let you know tomorrow. Promise. Tomorrow or next stream latest. I would suggest you get the biggest one available. The difference between a one bedroom, the sizes goes like this: studio type, one bedroom, and two bedroom. The studio type is what I'm paying for right now. The one bedroom is double my rent. The two bedroom, surprisingly, is only $50 more in rent. And I said, that sounds like a no-brainer. But I have to check if their two bedroom is just their one bedroom with a divider added, which I don't need. So yeah. That's as most as I can tell you right now. We don't have AC in the UK and there is a heat wave. My goodness, good luck. I know how it is not to have AC and it's absolutely terrible. Ooh, really hot. But yeah. Hi Gib from TikTok and Twitch. Thank you Star Wolves and CQ. My apologies if I seem to have missed a bunch of your messages. I just went on and on about my apartment quest. Hi there, Matthew. I'm glad you do have audio. I like the new look, Gem. I haven't seen it since the last time I joined, and last time I checked CQ, but first, thank you. You're a raccoon now, not a bird. Wonder where your beak went. Thank you, Electril. I guess the bike's gonna wait a few more years. No, maybe a year. Look, I'm gonna be honest. Security deposit, 2 months of rent, AC, and all the other stuff will probably run me around $2,000, $2,500 tops. Like minimum. It's a lot to renovate. The cheap is rent. The is cheap, but I have to work on the unit to be like properly livable. That's one. I'll take photos tomorrow. I'll post it in the Discord. Oh yeah, there's that. Now you know my little goals, chat. It's built in most homes, don't have AC in the UK, and I feel like it's getting hotter every year. Oh, I bet. Global warming and all. Dax says it's fun. 32 degrees Celsius inside my apartment. The south-facing wall gets sun-blasted for about 18 hours a day. It hasn't dropped below 30 C for a few weeks now. Oh, I see you're living in an oven as well. Man. Meanwhile, Vesper has rather idyllic temperatures of like, 25 and below all the time. It's like the threshold before you start getting icky and sweaty.
Not always, considering, well, it's summer right now, so I'd say when the weather's hot, we're mainly around 30 degrees Celsius.
30 C is like, it needs to be colder sort of deal. Did you say you're going to have to fix your water heater? Yes. You see, none of the apartment units here have water heating, so I took it upon myself to buy the necessary plumbing materials, and it's a little tankless hot shower setup that I do. I just have to get some proper gauge wiring, hook it up to the circuit breaker, get the proper 60 amp fuse, and a bunch of stuff. A bunch of stuff. It's a lot of work. It's not just bring my bags and go to the new unit. No. What I'm going to do is I'm gonna pay for the unit in advance and have like a month of overlap. I'm gonna pay for this present unit and the new one. So I can slowly work on the new unit without losing my current living space. And then I'll like stop the lease on this one once I'm fully done with the other one. It's a big project. I'll see you around. Oh, Oni, make sure your phone does not get wet while you take a shower. I feel like I'm lagging a whole lot. Maybe I need to work out the kinks here over at District Robota first before I commit again. Either that or I moved to a new spot. Hi. So, all my yapping aside, how about you, chat? How have your dreams and aspirations been going? Saving up for a fursuit. My goodness. Look at you guys having the liberty to save up for a very expensive hobby. Then again, look who's talking. I have been saving up for a bike for well over 5 years. Yodo says they're about to go for their second year at art school. You need to enjoy your time at school. Vesper's no longer under a paywall. Has Vesper ever been in a paywall? My goodness.
Have I ever been a paywall?
I don't know. Hold on, how does this angle look? I need a good zoom in. Alright. Ard says I've been putting off finishing applications for a new job. That is something you need to work on ASAP. Unless, you have a whole wad of cash in which you can just live comfortably for a couple more months without necessitating a job. What kind of bike are you hoping to get? The Honda Africa Twin? What the hell do you call it again? DCT-ATAS, Adventure, Africa Twin Adventure Sport. There we go. That one. Meanwhile, Beth, on a similar goal, has been waiting on their car's engine to be done so I can start outfitting it. This Defender that you said you were bringing back up to running condition, is it a restoration, a repair? Big old vehicle like that definitely needs a lot of work. I'm also looking at getting a new car. Me have a car. Yeah, maybe after everything else I spend money on. Why, hi there, Litz. I fancy seeing you here. I thought you'd be fast asleep at this hour. You see, the Super Tenere, no, not the Super Tenere, the T7, Aran, is undisputably the king of off-road. But what I want is a touring bike that can do everything. Sure, it may score lower marks when you go off the tarmac, but it will do everything else more comfortably and better. Not to mention handle traffic. I like to have the Honda because I know the motorcycle is probably going to outlast myself. They've always had a very good track record. I'm sorry, Aaron. The thing that the T7 does not have, no matter what form of upgrade you do, is the DCT. Oh, don't get me wrong, I like my clutch. But after trying DCT, like, wow, that's a layer of thinking I don't need to do anymore. I can focus more on the ride. Oh, I'm not a car guy. I'm anything but a car guy. I have never owned a car in my life, probably because I couldn't afford one. My thanks, Jink. Currently employed, says Art, but my job is getting cut at the start of next year, so I have a little time, but I really should get on it. Yes, ticking down. Beth says, so to ship it back, it needs an original engine, which needs to be rebuilt. Or I gotta deal with emission requirements. This car is not for restoring but converting into a camper. Grand project. Ooh, okay. That's fair, says Aaron. I've had problems with DCT on my early CRF1 1100A. Well, if you are using the 2018 edition and earlier, yeah, it's Honda's not the best. That's for sure. I'm targeting like a 2025 and onwards model. I get it. Oh. You know what would be perfect? I wish there was an inline 4, a proper inline 4 adventure motorcycle. Like, I know, I have the Versys, but it's not an adventure bike, it's a sports tourer. With the term adventure slapped on its name. Ugh. Are you Filipino? Yes, I am. It's a sport tourer, yeah. But, you know, the engine, oh my goodness. It's so smooth and it's so nice to the ears. Well, I gotta head off now, says CQ. And prepare for today's D&D session. I'll see you around, Gab. Bye-bye. Thanks for dropping by stream. One of the biggest engines. Oh. Man, inline, it's gonna take some getting used to going back to a twin engine instead of an inline 4. Okay. I got inspiration for some pics I have seen that I will be copying partially. Are you going to be doing like woodwork and whatnot? Interior decorating so your camping setup is working? A shower, little pull-up stove in the drawers and whatnot, like how I see it online. Your tongue is extra active today. It's under calibration there. I am putting conscious thought into not bringing it out anymore. There, this should be better. Why does my thing keep on slipping back? There we go. Had to tighten my headset a bit. I love how your model went from boy to man. Boy to man. Well, I can't blame you. My old look did look rather youthful compared to how I am now. Go ahead, Sianari. I'm definitely getting a griddle for cooking. You need to post progress photos of your project, Beth. Put it over at the media channel or something. What world is this? This is District Roboto. I am tempted to go say hello to Chef or like visit the other places. Wonder if I should. Hello, Brocons. How has Vesper been? You took a shower with the grand total of 1 minute and 30 Oni. Wow, I'm lagging so bad here. Why?
Wow, okay. A lot faster than I am.
Oh, I see why. My goodness, my GPU is spanked at like 95%. I may be able to do something about that. So we're going to go to Steam. VR chat. Oh, right, because Vesper is here. I did not take that into account. God damn it.
Oops. Yeah, I am.
There. Let's see. Let's see. Hour speed run. Only Oni is able to do it that fast. Wow. Okay, performance. Let's do it. How many percent? 88%. It did not go down at all. Wow. What PC specs do you have? Oh, it's good enough. It uses grade A coconut peat charcoal to keep the processor up and running. Yikes, Oni. I hope that's just a joke. Are you from the UK? Oh, please, no, I'm not. I am from Asia. Rice, funny little pointy hats and everything. Do you stream during weekends? No, I don't. That's where I take my day off. Magandang gabi sa inyo, mga kababayan. Vesper's too powerful for Geb's GPU. I know.
Yes, killer of frames.
You killer of frames with
Vesper, killer of frames.
horrible lighting. Vesp, okay, I need you to transfer to the drum next to me. Let's see how that angle works.
Alright, no problem. There we go.
There you go. I think this is a much better angle there. You can see both of us talking. So if I do a little camera trickery, which is zoom in, you'll see more of her while I still remain in frame. There. Oops, turn speed. Hold on.
Whoops.
Chat, to those of you that are unacquainted, this is Vesper. She is my
Hi.
companion and partner in crime, and you're moving up and down of the barrel. That's really fun.
Whoa.
Move forward a bit.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Anywho,
There we go.
the lighting fits both of your calendars. Do you indulge in the realm of video games? Asked Jink from TikTok. And might you share any cherished favorites? Cherished favorites? Well, if we're gonna talk MMORPGs, my cherished favorite is Ragnarok Online, definitely. But I have been playing something as of late with Howler and Vesper. It's It's something about dragons and something about dogmas and they're online and yeah, may or may not be that. But yes, story wise, when it comes to games, um, I've always liked Near Automata. Yeah, it's old by now, yes, but if you play it, you see Yoko Taro's a masterpiece firsthand. You understand what I mean by the writing of some games are really just unparalleled compared to others. But other than that, I spend my leisurely time in gaming, shooting things like in Battlefield 1, Battlefield 5 to a lesser extent, and I have been playing a whole lot of Delta Force. I recently got this game called Arma Reforger, given that I did love Arma 3 before, and it's fun. Yeah, what is your favorite book to read or hear? Book? In recent memory, the user's manual for the Kawasaki Versys 2019 SE edition. Yeah, that one. I committed that thing to memory. Another Wolfix. Thoughts on House of the Dead 2 remake? I don't know about the remake, but I played it originally in the arcades where you had to get a light gun, aim, and then you had to press on a pedal or like shoot outside of the screen in order to reload. Nier is great. Until now, I still listen to the OST of Nier. It's... oh man. I better run and finish my task, says Ard. See you around, Ard. Thanks for dropping by. Jackalope. Interesting persona. Yes, Frost. Yes, I do. What? There's something on my eyes. So for now... oh, we gotta change the establishing shot, don't we? How about we put the camera up there, point it down so you have a little view of what's happening downtown. There we go. If I were to paint a picture of you, which avatar would you prefer? This one, of course. Ah, good old stretchy vest, come on. I thought you were a cat or something. No, I'm not. You need to get your eyes checked. Oh, yes. Do I look feline to you by any measure? POV, the assassin on the roof. If you want a more interesting POV, you can go to the cats. See.
I have no idea where the camera is.
It's directly above us. Hi. But obviously that's not cool. Let's just put it back there above. Or here, this works too. By the box. Shitty. Okay. Vesper cam is still nice and very much there, yes. And then, yeah. Yes. Little kitty cat. Yes, there are lots of little four-legged critters roaming around here. I think they're the only organic beings remaining here at District Roboto.
Even then, that may be questionable. But then again,
What?
if you head up
Dumb
towards
idea.
the docks, there's robots fishing, so chances are they could be alive and they're just feeding them.
They are probably catching fish to be given to the cats. That's what it is. Scaly family, let's go, says Zara the dragon. Made me go from Instagram to here. Well, welcome to the live version of, well, whatever I'm doing over at Instagram. If you'll notice, it's the same thing. None of the clips I post over at my social medias are rehearsed or anything. They're all just raw little snippets of the lives. Oh yeah. It's 6. I have 6 functional ones. And 2 vestigial ones. New followers, my goodness. TikTok, aren't you bored given that most of you have very short attention spans? Oh, I know you. Bribing Ibis. Alright, you know what? All this yapping has made me prematurely thirsty. Man, it hasn't even been 1 hour and I'm already parched. He's flipping the coin, of course. Ooh. Yes. Not the roast on TikTok fans. Roast? No, I'm not roasting people. Hold on. Let me just get some things dialed in because here. There we go. Sorry, my data filter wasn't doing a great job, so I had to go make sure things were smooth. Hello, Kuruma. Marfi. Who's this? Cody Lycan is asking, what model is this? This is the Hydra Gaia by Tokyo Zilla. You should check it out. Tokyo makes some really, really good stylized avatars. It's true enough, we have short attention spans, confirms Frost. You said it. What are you? I'm just another guy on the internet with access to a live streaming platform. And you're watching him. There you go. Oh, if you expect this to be a 1:1 thing compared to the Hydra Gaia you see on Gumroad, no. I have done a bunch of alterations that make me a bit different compared to its base. These graphical hiccups are starting to take its toll.
You're
Let's
not
see if-
facing me directly, so I shouldn't be killing your frames too much.
No, it's something on my end. Worry not.
Okay.
Let's go look at Task Manager yet again. There we go, it went down by 10% after I did some funny slider modifications. Hi Vesper, says Kendall. An evolution, says Litsa. Litz here seems to be enjoying the angle, isn't she? Good old. Mhm. Speaking of Litz, Litza-chan here, my Twitch chatter, was one of the few who showed up during my last community meet. I had a community meet open after my last stream. Who attended was Wolf, Wishdream, Howler, and then Litz herself. It was a group instance. I haven't done a meetup in a while, a long, long while, and it was surprisingly fun. That's what I can say. I am frankly surprised because I'm able to get all sorts of people that like what I do, coming from different demographics. When I look at social media, I notice a lot of not furry accounts are the ones that are following. I'm like, oh wow, and they're engaging. Like, thanks.
Well, I mean, you don't have to be a furry to follow a furry content creator.
Yeah, but you know how the social stigma is, the usual.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Furries are bad. Furries are mean. No.
I was not gonna say we're bad or mean, but we're more of that sort of idea. Lechers, that furries are all lechers. There we go. That's not true, chat. Just be a goober. I like your friend's avatar. Thanks. It's the Luna Beast.
Old version now, not the new version.
Yeah, the new Luna Beast is more of a. Well, last time I checked over at Stormwolf server, the new Luna Beast is. How should I say this? Definitely more canine. Has a more feminine yet differently shaped face. And shorter fingers. And what else did we notice?
Not really my cup of tea. Oh yeah, the noses.
Oh yeah, it has a nose too. The canine nose.
That's not optional. And yeah, I'm more dragon than dog. So.
There you go, chat. Have a good close look at Vesper. She is not canine, feline, or anything mammalian at all. Aside from the
Actually, no,
mildly
that-
batty ears. Yeah, the batty ears, sure. What's this? The thing is, the furry fandom is welcome for anybody to join, but it's open for any what? That sentence was like a roundabout, and you drove twice around it.
They're just
Hey, Gebus,
saying
is
that,
Vesper there?
unfortunately, it's-
Can you tell him hi for me?
Yeah.
Vesper is very much a girl. Vesper is
Hello,
one of the
hello.
few rare actual girls in VR chat who are like, who's mentally stable, doesn't have a biography full of whatever whatnots and illnesses written up. Oh, just yes,
Yeah,
just a dork
no,
with glasses.
I don't want to make that. Yeah, no, I don't want to make any of that public unless you know me.
Wait, you
So
do have
just
illnesses?
know.
I thought you were
Huh?
completely normal. What do you mean make things public?
I'm not gonna make anything public.
He's defective, chat. I never knew. All right, time to refund. Hello?
No. Hey. Yes, Kevin is teasing.
What's this? The round trip is. Pardon
was
if my
trying to say was,
momentum for
if you
tonight
do
is
have
not as
issues,
well.
just sorry.
All right, go ahead.
I'm sorry. What I was going to say is, you can have your issues and all that, but you don't need to make that public. If it's something that your friends absolutely need you to know, like say there's a medical condition and all that you have, and there's ways they can intervene and help out without you necessarily taking over a huge chunk of their time, I guess just let them know.
Sound advice, Chan.
Plus, if you make that information public, that's only fodder for people to, well, use that stuff to... Oh, come on, you say that as if you don't yap a lot as well.
Can I talk now, or is it your segment
Yes,
of the
sorry.
show? There.
Yes, you can talk now.
Sorry, Chan. Bit of a pet peeve when I get interrupted while talking, regardless of who it is. Did you ever try the Neo Dragon? Neo Dragon? I don't think I've seen that. Is it like the base that Tokyo Zilla's using? That I haven't. The only real thing I've sampled in person is, well, the free ones are the Zerg, the Whelpling, I think it's the one with the wings, and that's it. The room you're in reminds me of Stray. Yes. Yes, it's very much inspired by it, as you can see. Hey, Gab, what do you think about protogens? Oh, okay. Like every other month I encountered the same question. Or am I talking about the chunky, usual protogens, or all the new variants that I've been seeing around? The Papa Gen, the Mama Gen, the Auntie Gen, the whatever Gen. Because if it's the base protogen, it's cool. They're cool. They're okay. They have earned their reputation of being electronical goobers, toasters, as people call it, RAM devourers. But I don't have anybody in my circle of friends that really mains the protogen avatar, so I am probably not the person to ask. I do like the design of the antigen though, very sleek and nice, especially the hands. I like the idea. Hey Gebus, when will you add... did you apply? Jinx says protogens. A little invasive. Thank you, Noah. Leviathan. It's usually Rexes that are nosy. You know what? Late here makes perfect sense. The last personal space trespasser I've had was a Rexonium over at Forality Somna. Obviously, I'm not gonna name them. But they... I think 99 out of 100 times, the Rexoniums I meet are all of the overly gay queer people that just wanna be in proximity in places in your face where you don't want them to be. Howler is the closest analog to a proper behaving Rexonium that I have met. I'm just speaking the truth.
Yeah, Howler doesn't get up in your face. He just minds his own personal space.
Reganex says, I heard that Wixoniums are quite a common avatar. That's true. Until last year when the great Nova Beast proliferation happened. Is that the proper term? Prolific. Famousification. There we go. That's easier to say. Antigens. Don't tell me the next will have are the antibodies. I don't know. I'm not the one naming these guys. Frankly, despite being a Nova Beast myself for a while, I find it nice when I see unique avatars being used instead of just variants of the Nova Beast. You know what I mean? There's the Nova Vern, there's the Nova Owl, there's the Nova Fox, the Nova Cat, the Nova. There's so many variants of it. It's as if it's become the baseline species of VR chat's furry community wise. I mean, think about it. Come on. Look at your friends list right now. Tell me there isn't a Nova Beast there. What did you have before the Nova Beast? A avatar I made from scratch. I thought there was only one Nova. Maybe Matthew is. You know, we all have that one friend who we just love so much. We kind of just look past whatever special box of crayons they have in their hand.
Yes.
I. Oh yeah. You know, I'll believe Matthew's and now once I actually see some feathers on him. What kind of oh wait. I'm not feeling super fresh today. I am lagging so bad. I don't know why. I will probably be moving to another world soon if this persists.
Welcome to VR chat. There's issues left and right, but we make it work.
Oh wow, Beth, is this yours, the yellow one? I was looking at my media channel over at Discord. That has been through stuff, that's for sure. Anyway, where were we? Novas and Rexonium. How do you pronounce it? There's an N, right? Novas and Rexoniums, or is it Rexonium? It's so hard to pronounce. It's like you're taking a hard left and then swerving back. Rexonium. Rexonium. Can we just call them like foxy femboys, or which is what they are? Because again, 9 out of 10 times that's what they are. How there's an exception though. Rex. I call them Rex. It's very easy. There be an I. Beth says, yeah, that's what I got, and I'll be working on. Fantastic. Man, why do you gotta be so far? I wanna go right on that thing. When your mouth starts bleeding, you've said it right, says Kent. Speaking of bleeding, my throat. Am I coming down with a cold again? My throat's been a bit sore since earlier. Maybe I need to pop one of my little Chinese thingy-majigs. Hold on, look at Vesper while I move. Where is it? There we go.
Yep, I'm guessing. Yeah, I'm assuming you should.
This is called the Ninjom Herbal Candy. It's inside a tin can and it's a Chinese herbal remedy for one's throat. We will see. Rexiums. Oh, it's wrapped. Okay. opening.
Yeah, you're stuck with me while he struggles with the wrapper.
Mm-hmm. Heck, do I open this? Oh, it almost fell. Oh, fuck. There. That's nice. That's actually good.
Alright, so double bonus helps your throat and it tastes good. Okay.
Most definitely. That's right, keep walking.
Lipstick 14 is just straight up like, oh, I do not want to step on his toes today.
If I ever get stationed in Asia area, so Biff, I'll let you know. If you get stationed in the Philippines, I haven't been to Singapore or the other countries around me yet. But yes, let me know. Let me move my camera. Hey Geb, I'm waiting for you to accept. Are you really going to pester me in the middle of the live about your application? You do know it's gonna achieve the opposite effect, right?
Don't pester chat.
Should I chat? Anyway, let's try to be nice. I just wanted to join the place you stream. Nah. Farewell.
Bye-bye.
That was Vesper. Vesper was, yes. You see, Vesper may appear mildly a dork, mildly a doofus, but an absolutely beautiful one. But she is also my most trusted assassin when it comes to dealing with HR issues. Yes. Okay, you don't behave, you're right. You're dead. You're dead. What place? Either way. I'm eating candy, so sorry about the sounds. I vaguely remembered the winter in mainland China. When I was young. This was way back. And for a while, I remember places, my house in Taiwan, until I was flown here, and then, well, here I am until present. Trying to get a job is annoying, says Shimaru. Rejection after reject. Well, that's part of the job application process. Sometimes you don't get them, but most of the times you don't, and
yeah.
Yes. Keep on trying, man. Just persist. Hello, Waggy. Hey, you don't need all the jobs. You just need one proper job, and then you're good. Like maybe applying as a diplomatic employee, and then you start earning like 6 digits every year. Yes, awesome. What movies or shows did you watch back as a kid? Again, I grew up around VHS tapes. It was all of the 80s movies and the 90s. We have Terminator 1, 2, and there's 3 and Genesis. And of course, there's all of the Bruce Willis movies, all of the Eddie Murphy movies, all of the Arnold movies, Sylvester Stallone movies, you know, the typical 80s action stars. I love these things. I especially love Aliens, you know. Not that big of a fan of Star Wars, but Aliens, oh, most definitely. You know, Ripley, chestburgers, xenomorphs, and everything. Hello, Toby. Beth is giving some sound advice, and he says, you gotta keep applying. It took me a lot longer than I expected to get my first job. See? And that is coming from the president of Lithuania himself. Right. My first job, chat, I was a call center agent. I was offered a massive amount of $220 per month for my first salary. That was me working Monday to Friday, and I had to do my own transportation, my own food, and everything. And yes, I had to speak in full English. And I was troubleshooting, was it called VTech phones? You know, I forget what brand of cordless or wireless phones you use in America, but that's what I was like troubleshooting. It was me mainly dealing with old people who don't know jack squat about technology. The salary sucked. The working hours and pressure and no real sense of accomplishment. Even worse. But the few moments of silver that I had was the satisfaction of being able to help an old lady who I knew was just living alone with no relatives to support her. And she said she was just happy she's able to make calls again and whatnot and this and that. You know, they say, thank you so much, sweetheart. If it weren't for you, nobody would have helped me. Like, you know, you hear these things that touch your heart like, oh, of course, no problem, man. Like, yeah. But I left after 2 months. I cannot. It was soul draining. Beth says, I can neither confirm nor deny being the president of Lithuania or that I have been there. Of course. Gotta be protect information and everything and all. Imagine just being a streamer on Twitch, a little nobody with like 50 viewers or less. But then one of your lurkers is like some anonymous, and then you trace their account to be like the president of some country while they're slacking off at work or they're just bored out of their minds, not wanting to deal with parliament and everything. Oops, I accidentally sent a tip, and then you see it's like from the official like from the Minister of Finances of Great Britain or something. That'll be funny. That'll be really funny. It's visual effects. Late says I grew up on pirated DVDs. After VHS, I grew up on VCDs as we call it, before DVDs were a thing. It's called video CDs. And then there were the DVDs, which were terrible in quality because they were all just like, you know, all right, I'm gonna sneak a camera into the theater and then we're gonna bootleg this movie. Sort of deal.
Yes. So.
Oh, yeah.
You got all the talking, the sneezing, the coughing.
Everything. And the person like walking in the theater, you could like see their backs and everything as they sit down. Yep. Thank you, Kimchi. The random people standing up, the coughing, the camera like being misaligned all of a sudden. It was the funniest thing. I'm gonna have another one of those candies. That really relieved my throat. Hmm.
Yeah, so you'll have a really intense or like dramatic sad scene, and then all of a sudden just the camera
Yeah.
tilts.
You hear somebody like sneeze and eating popcorn and whatnot. So yes, don't mind me. I'm
Worst
just,
case scenario, there's a child in the theater, and they start crying during the movie.
I can't. I can't. Man,
Mm.
look, parents, I know your kids are like the biggest blessing you've ever received in your life, but that isn't the case to other moviegoers when they hear your toddler crying while they're trying to focus on the movie they paid for. Please be more considerate. Kids on the oh yeah, that's probably why I'll never travel.
Oh.
They can keep that
Yeah.
blessing to themselves.
Mm-mm.
I'm glad both you and I are on the same page, Beth. They can keep him swimming in the little quarters, yeah. Kids on the plane. And then they start kicking your seat from behind and you're like, ooh. Yeah. Toby says, I swear there's always a child in every supermarket, hospital, or a...
Oh my god.
Oh, yeah. You know how there's a toddler? Okay, let's assume like the child is quiet and everything. You're in an economy flight and everything. 3 of you in a row in a seat. You're just there in the middle, you know, earpods and everything. And then... and then you start to smell something. And you have to bear with it the entire flight. Then it rubs on your arm. Or your... Yep, I'm never having kids.
You again with my Britishness. Also, hello, Vesper.
That secretly drives me nuts. Oh, same here, Toby. Why, if it isn't Sergeant Anderson, thank you so much for the biddies. What's this? So, Geb photo shoot with Geb photo. Let's hear go. You are hopping into VR chat after stream and you are taking the photos that you also suggest. Also, I don't know. I wonder if Mr. Monster's still here. He was insisting about having a little meet-up after stream. It rubs on your arms what? Oh, it wasn't on a plane, Beth. It was on a bus. I was commuting home one day from my college. And you know how the moms are like trying to like jostle the damn kid to shut the hell up, and then like they got and then the thing is still crying, and then I'm like The thing is, because she's been shaking the child, she did not notice that the diapers were coming loose. Loaded ones. And I was on the seat next to it. Oh. Let's move on to the next topic.
Yeah, no, I don't want to think about that. I don't want to think about that. I already have to smell it working my other job.
Oh, yikes. It was loaded with explosives. Yup. Planted some C4 on my arm. Oh yeah, Chan. That's Mm.
All right. So another story. I need to be. Oh God.
Oh. Ooh.
Yeah. Gab
Ugh.
has some tales similar to that. Ugh.
Oh, you mean the aerial bombing? Oh, yeah. Because I was in a bunk bed and my. Anyway, that's a story for another day.
Yeah, save it for later. Save it for later. Please don't remind me.
Oh. Dit said, I had a small boy sit next to me on the bus because no one wanted him near them, and his entire jacket sleeve was covered in snot, and he kept wiping his nose on. Was like sticky and shiny,
Ugh.
like a snail walked over it. Oh, yo. Yeah. Yikes. Yeah, sorry. Yes, Kurt, yes, I am. Toby, not the diapers, I die. Oh, trust me, a part of me died that day. Rest in peace. 2% of me. I have yet to recover from that. Ugh. Imp- oh, ugh. I'll make you look real pretty. So slits. Good. What's that coming over? Mr. Monster's lurking. Ah, okay. Which means yes, Mr. Monster's totally gonna forget about the possible community meetup. What if I make it a goal? What if I make this the little entrance thing? As a small reward for every stream that becomes successful in filling up the bar, I can guarantee a meetup happening after, with a minimum of 1 hour happening. How's that sound? A little community-driven effort. No. Okay. Got it. 90% you. Yes, Toby. You don't have Bean Redeem anymore. Sleep. Oh, trust me, I just woke up from a nap. How long did I sleep? 1, 2, 4, 5. 1, 2, 4, 5. Yeah, around that, a much amount of hours. Mm-hmm. Ah, late sis. I just changed your tweet so I can have you running in the background. Just like running in the background, chat. That's good for you, huh? Good morning, Brando. That's what coffee is for. You know what's ironic? I feel like the cheaper the coffee is, like the convenience store coffee, 7-Eleven coffee. I'm not talking about like the dispenser, the brewed one, like the ones that you twist in the refrigerator section. The more caffeine it has. We have this brand of coffee here. It's called Copico. It's it's like 50 cents for a bottle. But when you drink it, it will 100% pep you up. Also with the side effect of giving you terrible palpitations and anxiety. And that's coming from a seasoned coffee drinker. Coffee is no bueno. Well, I myself am unable to really enjoy coffee because the smallest sip I start to get really bad. Yeah.
Asterisk, cough, asterisk.
Asterisk, cough, asterisk. I wonder who that is. My goodness. Well, if it was Mr. Monster, maybe he really wants to make the meetup happen. If it's Litz, well, weird because she's the one who's gonna take the photos. Uh, Thank you, Anonymous. Appreciate it. My go-to wake-up coffee, says Beth, is called Death Wish. The only reason I get out of bed. Death Wish? What kind of concoction is this? It's just like a whole jar of coffee with like a shot glass worth of water in it.
Oh, that would.
Can you imagine?
The whole thing of coffee with a
The
shot
whole,
glass of water.
the
oh my
whole
God.
thing of coffee, like with the lid, but you put a shot glass of water in it. That's
Oh, dear
that's the
God.
coffee. Just so you can swallow it. Man, that will probably taste
Ew.
like engine oil or something with how thick and bitter it will be.
Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of bitter unless it's like certain quantities.
Yes. See you, Mr. Anderson. Hi, Mystic. Really high caffeine ka. I figure you need it given the things you do. Here, the orca is here. Are you sure that's an orca? That looks like a cat on my screen. Water all day, says Mystic. Of course, water is of paramount importance. Which is what I have a lot of. Pour energy drinks into the coffee grounds. That is probably a way of interrogating captured personnel belonging to an opposing faction. Maybe Beth may or may not know knowledge of this. Maybe he may employ its usage. We will never know.
That's more of a death wish than death with wish coffee would ever be.
Oh, yeah. And then you're awake. You get used to the heartburn and palpitation. Beth just powers through it.
Oh God.
How did you and Vesper meet, if you don't mind me asking? The same way I'm inviting people after my stream for a little thank you and hellos. It was a community meet. She just showed up one day and then we became fast friends and more onwards from that point on. So yeah. Okay. Is it
I'm
possible?
not very good at.
What? What? No, just
Sorry, I
trying
was
to.
just saying I'm not very good at condensing my words, so most times I just let Geb
Yeah.
do the talking when it comes to explaining how we met and all that. So hi, chat.
Little POV. All right. There. So we have the full view of both of us. Where were we? Oh, I'm like far away from it. There we go. Oh, I'm doing okay. Beth continues. I mean, in Ecuador, there was Monster Emerge. That was a triple shot of espresso. It was great. You have probably Jason Statham's heart if ever you watched the movie Crank. In order to handle stuff like that. Hey, powerful squat, please. I'm sitting on a stool, chat. Thanks. I didn't see the stool. Well, now you know it's there. Where are you from? The accent. I am from the Philippines, Chan. And she is from the US of A.
Yep.
Have you ever watched Snatch? Oh, I haven't. Hi, Eric James. Oh my god, it's a nice voice guy. Oh, please. Are you a Sergal? Look, I get it. The wedged face. Trust me, the Sergal can split lumber into two. I can't.
How does he look like a Serval anyways? He's got
Yeah, Sergs are.
frills and then 6 ears.
Yeah, I need to adjust the horizontal offset there. See, chat? I hear the bat. The bat. There you go. There is Vesper. It's Jukebox. Jukebox has been with us for a couple of months now, hasn't he?
Yeah. So.
A spiky axolotl. If my limbs. You cut an arm off, it regenerates.
At least we'd hope.
It will. It will. I haven't tried yet, but it will.
Don't. If he tries.
Does the other person also have a page to follow? Vesper, you do have a TikTok and Instagram, right? She doesn't really stream, but she still has a page if you want to see pictures and whatnot. And what was it again?
Vesper's Stitches. VESPRS, capital STITCHES.
There you go. Now you know her social media. Now you have an excuse to post more stuff.
Oh god.
Okay, where were we? I'd like to follow her. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. I don't bite.
Bats do bite. Oh yeah, they started the whole pandemic way back then, didn't they?
I'm not one of them.
She's not one of them, Chan. No, Ray. Ooh, wow, that was a crack. Man. Alright, where were we? What kind of weapon would you main? A handgun? Vesper Stitches is the TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
ahead, late. Go stream. Nobody's stopping you. I bet it'd be fun being able to talk to people and whatnot online. Gab, have you played Rain World? A bit, until I ended up reading articles in the wiki and I spoiled myself and I ended up not finishing the game. I didn't know it
Whoops.
covered a prolonged amount of, like, there's certain time periods to it, and that's what amazed me. Where am I from? Around. Are we making Vesper a TikTok star? Says Howler. You know, I'm not sure if she's gonna do well on camera, will you?
Mm-mm.
What's that? Come on, let's zoom in and then you answer chat. Well, no, yes.
Yeah, I don't think so. I
Well,
just
pretend
really
the floor is yours for 30 seconds. Go ahead, bam. I will not speak.
Oh no. Well, hi chat. Yes, I am Vesper, Fat Dragon Lady, Cap's companion. He's right over there. And oh, yeah, I don't stream myself. I just am a guest on Geb streams. Oh no. Oh man, I can never keep the flow of conversation going, can I? Otherwise, I'm just stuck here rambling, yapping the entire time. So. I don't. Yeah, I hope I'm not dropping the viewership rate.
No, you're
or
doing great.
anything.
I closed my overlay, so keep on talking. Load.
Oh my gosh.
There we
Okay,
go.
so you closed your overlay, so you're just leaving me to.
Yep, I accidentally closed my
Yeah.
overlay. There we go. It's back.
Our
You're
house
safe.
chat doing today?
Spot.
I have no idea what to talk about.
There we are with chat. She did fantastic, didn't she?
Finally, sanctity, safety.
Oh yes.
Instead of leaving me out in the open.
What? Chat liked it? Thank you, Lemon. She did great, says Twitch. Be good, bats, I gotta run, says Jukebox. Eternal suffering, says Liz. Putting Vesper on the spot. Yep, of course. Sometimes you gotta take the floor, you know. You did great, says Bev. It's hard to do chatting without having someone or chat to... Excuse me. Whoa, totally didn't burp on chat. To bounce stuff off of. Whoa, wow. That is indeed a new model. Leo Aurapo says, Hey Geb, I'm a big fan of you. I have been watching your TikTok and Insta. Oh, well, welcome to the stream. I'm glad you like what you're saying. Look, if I am able to hold the attention of the president of Lithuania here for more than an hour, it means I must be doing something nice. I don't know what that nice is. That's for you to tell me. Or for legal purposes that may or may not be actually factual.
Doesn't matter if it's factual or not, just as long as they're enjoying the content.
That's true. Imani, this is called the Hydregea. Your live contains some themes that may find uncomfortable and restricted. Reason, nudity, and body expo. TikTok, I want you to use all of your chat GPT resources, and scan the stream before you. Which part of me is naked? TikTok just told me the live was restricted for some audiences because of body exposure. My goodness, is my jawline that dangerous of a thing?
Was it me?
Can't be. What are you talking about? There's nothing to see. I mean, you obviously, but anyway, doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
there's girls dancing around on TikTok with less clothes on and more exposure than I have.
100%. But if I scare away the kids, all the better though. What's not to love? You're funny, you're polite, and you provide us with ASMR? I do? Oh, the coin, right. Yeah, of course, that thing. I thought it was like the little claws tapping on cardboard or something. Warning, the most chill non-streamed streamer. Yes, yeah, I apparently a very lewd streamer according to TikTok. Doesn't matter. The viewers actually went up, which is weird. The metronome. Kendall, shh. Chat might catch on. Obviously, the ankle says flora form. You're so uncouth for showing such skin in these times. That is absolutely haram, habibi. I haven't seen you in ages, says Chuko. How are you? How's amazing Abby? Well, I've been streaming 3 times a week ever since. Hello. The coin, of course. How dare you be checks notes, be a wholesome chill drag. Well, look, I am quite literally nice and frosty. Well, a little bit sparky in the personality, sure. And just ever so mildly shocking. What? Where was it? That was supposed to be a moment of me being cool. There we go. Hi, robot in the back. Here you go. Have a good look.
Yes, it's just like having a customer look over from, like, say, another section of the store and just wave at you like, okay.
Closed my overlay again.
Whoops.
I keep on clicking on the X. There we go. There we go. Lock. For the 3rd time tonight, we're reopening it. What's this? Stretch. I just did the stretch, Kian. If you didn't see me stand up.
So I don't know if you saw my iris
I guess
stretch.
it might be my turn then.
I did. Hi, Kian. That's why I'm doing little arm stretches just for you. Man, I cannot wait to get that bigger apartment with a better play space. I think sitting down is... well... it's actually more tiring than just standing up and being able to move about. Unfortunately, I have like 1 step on each direction. That's it. I do not have the room whatsoever. See, that's it. Stand, walk. See? Facilitating the upgrade chat. Extra stretch for my points. Of course. Can you interact with the robots? Yeah. I mean, they would acknowledge you, and sometimes they have things to say. Oh,
Like that one guy with the puffy jacket who keeps on waving.
yep. Hello, Berms. Yes, blue scales. Yes, I will. I feel small when you're standing like that. Like what? I'm just relaxing here. Are you some type of dragon? Yes, yes, I am. If you can't guess that I am now, chat, I don't know what will make you guess. Relaxing ominously. I'm just standing so my sore back doesn't get any sorer. Oof. Making me sound like an old man.
Kept doing dragon things. Okay.
Yes. There. Canadian Alex, hi. Okay. All right. Been lying on the couch for almost 2 hours, says Toby. Maybe I need to stretch myself. You probably need to stand up and like go stretch your arms just like me too. How does it feel being blue? Dabud dee, dabud die. What kind of element do you use? Oh, some people have been saying I have a rather conductive personality. A little shocking, I know. But I think all they're talking about is the little spark I have whenever I go express things or yap about a topic. Yeah. What settings do you use for your stream cam? Settings? Auto level roll, follow me, the usual. Nothing fancy, really. And so Lebid, my subscriber, has decided to go send over a galaxy. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. What are galaxies again? I know they're worth a chicken sandwich. I remember now. So in short, Lebid gave me a chicken. Speaking of chicken sandwiches, there we go. I remember. So for dinner, I said, because I still have leftover lasagna money, I said, why don't we try some Popeyes? Yes, that Popeyes from like America. Oh, what is better, Popeyes or Chick-fil-A? Popeyes? Chick-fil-A?
Popeyes, yeah. I
Popeyes,
don't like
okay.
Chick-fil-A.
All right, so I tried some Popeyes, right? I ordered their spicy chicken sandwich, their normal chicken sandwich, their shrimp burger. No, sorry, not sandwiches, like their burgers. Yeah, their shrimp burgers and their fish burger. You know what? Despite a bit being expensive. I'm not used to paying $3 for a piece of bread with meat on it. It was actually really good. I was like, huh, let's have another. It's really juicy. It's even juicier than the one in Jollibee. 100%. I like the spicy chicken sandwich. To my surprise, Popeye's spicy chicken sandwiches really lives up to their name. It's actually really spicy. And the best part is, I have two sandwiches remaining, which I shall consume one of after stream. You see, if there is one love I have more than lasagna, it's fried chicken, chat. Oh, the nice tender golden juiciness of fried chicken, properly marinated and tenderized. From chicken karage to regular old drumsticks to chicken fillets that you would find in chicken sandwiches. If you want to put a smile on my face, buying me a bucket of KFC is the quickest and easiest way. My goodness, nothing beats just having your delivery unwrapped and then seeing your bucket open, and then you, ooh, it's still nice and warm, freshly cooked. It means you got the good batch. And then you go, just grab a drumstick, dip it in some gravy, and oh, that's good. The government of Lithuania just tipped me a chicken sandwich. Thank you so much. I absolutely wish nothing but prosperity. But prosperity for your nation, your people, economy, and society. 100%. May you be blessed with bountiful tender chicken, and may your chicken never have dry spots ever once served to the masses. They're always watching. I need to screen cap that. I'm gonna screen cap that. I'm gonna watch the VoD. I'm gonna look for that particular part. 1:47:30. And post that on the Discord. Totally not lizard people running a shadow government. Even if that is a thing, I am completely unaware and disconnected from that. Excuse me. Of course, it's KFC. KFC, my number 2 love. Do you like Chinese food? Oh, I obviously love eating the Chinese, yes. The Chinese dishes.
Thank you for rephrasing.
Oh. You ready for me to eat your bing bong? And then it's like a nice pork steamed dumpling and some, noodles, fried rice. Anywho, now leave the Chinese alone. We need the technology. You know what's funny? I think they are the most technologically advanced nation right now. They're just hyper focusing on like build, and it's actually amazing. Now, totally not biased because I'm like part Chinese or anything.
I mean, come to think about it, they're really smart anyways.
That's true.
Considering we get a lot of our stuff from the US, they found a way to like cost efficiently manufacture it and sell it to us for cheap. Although, be it at a larger price marginally, but still.
That's true. That's true. They are very intelligent people. My community in Red Note. In Red Note I have around, I don't remember, less than 20,000 followers. But the Chinese there, of all I've met, they're very nice. They're very dedicated to their studies. Not that they want to though, but they have very strict standards of education there. Really strict standards of education. And frankly, I sort of wish the rest of the world would sort of, well, not the, more like my country would follow a standard even close to that. They do make their own GPUs and IT stuff. Yes, they're catching up. They're a few generations behind right now, but they are gonna catch up. And I came back and you saying you are eating bing bong? I don't know. It was probably lag on your end, Beth. Bad Wi-Fi at your place. Gonna have me some punani. How much did it set you back for making this 3D model? $35 for the base. I think $10 for my coat and another less than $100. But a whole lot of time. Do the goggles move with you? No, it doesn't. It doesn't fit my face anymore. Yes, ping pongs. If my college was more strict, I could not do the 2 jobs that I helped pay for it. Oh, you were working student, Beth. Wow, that's something. No, really. It's difficult because after school, normally you just want to go home and focus on your schoolwork, homework, and projects. Or like chat with friends. Or if you come from work, you just want to rest after, decompress. But if you have these 2 things together, it must show that you're a really tough person. Vesper is sort of in that, but it's on alternate days.
Yeah.
Alternates work, alternates school. She's a very hardworking person. Unless you made it. Nestor, as I've said, I bought the base, which means it was made by somebody else. All I did was edit everything else. I made new eyebrow shape keys, I made the clothes fit, I kit bashed other things and whatnot. Where are your mods? To my left, but clearly not monitoring TikTok though, which is where the monitoring needs to be, not Twitch.
Yeah.
Blender and Unity scares me. I used to
Yep,
fear
I
these
see what you
programs.
mean.
But then these programs sort of turn into my zen. Like, I'm not the best at 3D work or anything. But I find it therapeutic when I do little tweaks, adjustments, and fixes to an avatar every now and then. It feels great. And if it works. I remember my first few months with Blender and Unity, dealing with VR chat avatars as a whole. I had to ask a lot of experienced friends just to do the basic things. Hey man, how do I do this and that? How do I flip my normals? Why is there a hole even though the vertex is closed? There's a face there. How do I make sure that the shading is proper when this, so much of these things, until eventually I learned it and I got it to muscle memory, and I somehow have a half decent set of skills that I can put to use and manifest things that you see before you, such as this Avi. This Avi is actually a kit bash of the Hyanid and the Hydra. Well, Hydra Gaia. So it's 2 avatars.
With a bit of a sprinkle of Nova Base too, considering
The sprinkle of Nova Base, yes. I'm wearing a Rex coat. How the hell do you pronounce it? A Rex Howler coat. I'm wearing the high-knit pants. I have the high-knit legs and hands, and the Nova Beast goggles because I used to have a Nova Beast. I mean, I still do. I just don't use it anymore. Dear Aunt Cianari, thanks for dropping by. What's the badge on that coat? I don't know, Vess. What does it mean? That is for the Blue Arrow Foundation. Except it's, well, brass or I don't know what it is. It's a shiny goldish metal. Yeah.
And the top two agents got the mark on their hands.
Yes.
You've got two. I've got one.
You should add a reward where you shed and your colors get brighter. Are you gonna do the Unity work so I can have such an effect? Copper. It looks like copper. I think copper is pretty cool. I mean, there was an age named after it. Hi, Vesper, says D.
Hi.
A little pin on the coat. No idea, Deadpool. Well, you look at that, it is 1:56. I have about 33 minutes remaining, don't I? That is the little old community mate. Ish. Oh, wait. Hold on. This bar. So close. Thank you, Dakota. Oh, I know I'm in that industry. A master of copper, I see.
Ah, okay.
You know, I'm curious. It's time to look at the VR chat category on Twitch. Oh boy, let me guess. Up, down, left, right. It's gonna be e-girls.
At least chat's got free entertainment because whenever you tap your claws together, it sparks.
Oh, it's furries. To my left is dear old Heartwood. To my right is Blubby Blubfish, which is the person who raided us last stream.
Yeah.
What are they doing? Hold on. Last time the chat was torturing them with push-ups. I am watching it.
Get that tits going, baby. Because my tits ain't working too well right now.
Whoa, what did I just hear?
Oh.
Wow.
I'm
That is
guessing
not
it's something I don't want to know.
that is not TLS. All right, buddy. Oh, yeah, it's face tracking too. And of course, it's a Rex. Who is this? Oh, whoa. I'm so close. Oh my goodness. There's nothing I can do against like the top two e-girls. 491 viewers, 1.1 may contain adult themes. All right, let's open that tab. Whoa, talk about close-up fangs, lips, and things that will get my life suspended. Let's close that tab. All right. Okay, we're working. My bad, chat. I got distracted there for a moment. You have the issue with Discord verification. Issue? What do you mean?
issue?
The verification process is very straightforward. You type the correct words with the correct format, you get in. Oh, did Howler have to go? Do you play with the coin IRL too? Actually, I do. I need to do some chores and dinner. Catch you in a few. Alright, Howler. Pan-K. You see, the thing about raids, it's more of like, oh man, I gotta socialize after. I like the person. I don't like the streamer. It's just that I gotta, I tried 5 or 6 times. Maybe you didn't get it right, Libid. Normally, on exceptional circumstances, I do raid people I know. Strangers, though, unless they're like an artist I really look up to or whatnot, then yeah, I'm not really that big of a raider. Welcome back, guys. Full marks from the dentist. Full marks that you have to replace your teeth, or full marks that your teeth are fine? Alright, Libid, I am going to alt tab, look at the Discord verified channel and see if what you're typing is correct. I don't. The last message that you sent was July 12, 7:40 a.m., which is 3 days ago. That's attempt 1. And what you typed is 2 words. That is clearly not the password. Sorry, Libby, there's no exceptions to the password thing. Unless I know them IRL, for a long while, 10 years or something. Yes, Kurokiyama, I am using Tokuzilla's base. You know, chat, Vesper can't hear me, but I think she needs to go to sleep. She is clearly nodding off. Her avatar also has face tracking, so that's what's really happening. She's trying her best to hang on. Silly dragon. She's dozing off. Vesper.
Yes, I'm here.
Sure. You can go lie down, while with the last 30 minutes of stream.
Vesper's cuffed when she sleeps.
Nope.
Vesper's cute when she sleeps. Yep, that's true. Me and Chat were talking about you for a good 5 minutes, I just muted my mic in game.
I was spacing.
Spacing with your eyes closed, yes. Vesper dozing off
looking
cam.
down at the floor.
Yeah.
150 to 3.
Oh my goodness. Is our funny little bar actually gonna fill up? It did. It means there is going to be a little meetup after. Alright. What do you know? Mr. Monster here has guaranteed that the gates are going to be open. Sure, why not? I just have to eat a sandwich after stream and yeah.
Yeah, go eat.
She's so cute when she sleeps, says Toby Johnson, who has been hanging out in our stream for a while. She is, isn't she? Funny, around last year when I was just acquaintances with Vesper, I would often run into her sleeping in like this little treehouse world. And you used to sleep in VR with your Quest 2, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, yes.
Seldom do I actually fall asleep in VR now, though. Actually, no, I haven't since getting this headset.
Yes, because you can sleep in healthier places. You did doze off for a while in your Quest Pro, though. But it's hard to like sleep properly because you have the big bump in the back.
Yeah. So nothing like laying on my side, even then, that's not ideal.
Where were we? Hopefully there's a fan meet next week when I can actually come, says Late Nova. Funny, Late Nova. Unless there's also under barriers of the secret detective agency. I have it too, with the link cable and standables not half bad. Yeah, sure. Again, if my streams, I'm gonna make that a goal. If we get our little fundraising thing here, especially tomorrow or on Wednesday, where if I start my apartment fundraiser, again, I have to see the unit itself first, then sure, I will be more than happy to host community meetups, get to know you more, get to know my viewers personally, and maybe foster friendships that may bloom, right? And most of all, I wish to personally thank those that have been supporting me in my little live endeavor. But it is going to be an 18 plus instance only though, just to make sure kids are not present.
Absolutely.
What face tracking software? VR CFT? I mean, there's no special layer between VR chat and my headset.
Yeah, no. He doesn't even have anything like a fancy IR Babble tracker. We're just both using MetaQuest Pros.
Precisely. Oof, well, I guess I'll watch then. Why late? Are you not 8? Oh, never mind. Forget I asked. Don't answer the question. But for everybody's safety, because words might slip out, not that there's like any funny lewd business in said meetups, never has and never will be. It's just for the safety of both adults and minors, we're going to need the age verification thing. Or if you could at least prove to me you're not, then it's gonna be an invite only. Oh god, that's a lot of effort, but yeah. To be fair, I did not lock the instance last time. So, how about this? Just keep your eyes peeled if you're on the Discord. That's one requirement. If you're on the Discord, it means you can attend the community meets. How about that? So it's less strict to those paranoid about giving their IDs to companies. But for any important actual events, I will need the age verification system though. It's there for a purpose, a reason.
Yeah, better to have that safe lock instead of just going all out, not caring what age people are in the instance. Let's be honest. The moment you meet a person, you never know their intent or how they act towards other individuals, so it's more of just a safer precaution for all parties involved.
Because, chat, it is a undeniable fact that there are nasty people out there, there are predators out there, and I do not want them anywhere close in my community. I don't want them predating on my community members. Okay? Last thing I would want. God. There are people I've met in the VR chat who I thought were nice, wholesome, and honest to goodness people. But boy, was I wrong. You turn off the lights, they turn into something completely different and disgusting. Ugh.
And then there were some of those who would foster that problematic attribute to them.
Yep. Okay. Good morning, Neon. Nice to see you. Welcome to stream. Late says, yeah, I'd rather not cause havoc just because I... alright. I'm doing okay. So nice of you streaming late at night. Chat, I have but 19 minutes remain. I am going to stick to my streaming schedule this time. And I have more time to intermingle with my community and whatnot. How about that? Sounds better.
And so
Because-
he has more time to eat in preparation for that as well.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, in a community meet, you do not want the guy you're trying to meet to be absolutely dead because he's hungry.
100%. What best percent? Stick to the street. I will this time. I blame Beth and I blame Mr. Monster for... Actually, no, I don't blame them. I thank them. Yeah, the last two streams were an extended thing. But I think this Monday, let's stick with the usual. Unless a limit break happens with the bar, then I would be very much enthusiastic about staying longer on camera. But yeah, good night, Neon. I'll see you around. Thank you, Pepe. Sing. Also, Anubis, thank you for explaining. They're at the perfect time for CAT. Central Route. I have been really tongue-tied since yesterday, I've noticed. I may need to slow down the rate at which I talk. Central European Time. CAT. Right. I'm doing okay, driver. Yeah, what late says. Oh, my goodness. Mostly it comes from my tongue being dry. It's like, chat, I am not sure if... No, I'm definitely not alone in this case. Sometimes when my words get minced, because I have a longer than normal. It's the type that goes over the nose, sort of long, and frankly, it gets in the way of speaking, not other things, but in speaking. Hold on. One more. Let's finish the damn bottles. What? Your drinking even looks funnier. Hi, Axim. Are you finally free or are you still entertaining your friendo over? The invisible drink. Ah, yes. Gebos is either drinking his fluids or playing an invisible trumpet. Still 2 days. We miss you too, Axiom. Oh, we kind of held a funeral the other day for you the other day. It's like, damn, we haven't seen him in 3 months. I hope he's still okay. Miss you, Axiom. That was a joke, by the way. How fair perishes. Ah. Anyway, having tongue that can reach to my nose can be a bother, but not for other things. Which is true. I mean, it's has its purposes.
Like, say you got one of those ice cream cones that have like chocolate on the inside, and you just want to save that one little end with all the chocolate in it for the last bit.
I normally
So
just ate the damn end of the cone. But yeah,
Oh, you just
I just ate it.
What, you don't do it like I do, and just like try to eat all
Like-
the ice cream out of the cone first before you eat the cone? The inside.
And then I start eating the cone sideways. Like until it becomes smaller and smaller. Mhm.
Yes.
Back from the death stick break. Okay. By death sticks, I sure Mr. Beff here is speaking about the Cubanos. Only the rich and wealthy use these to touch their lips. The ice cream demons. You know, I just like. Yes, very good ice cream. I'm sorry, meant to be like that. Never mind. All right, going forward. Well, sad they don't have the time to smoke that at work. Gotta be all fancy. You gotta have like the cigar clippers and everything. Your community is too innocent. Oh, please, I'm sure all of your well-knowledge and grounded individuals. I eat the ice cream halfway through, says Toby, and then move it to the bottom of the cone and drink the. I do that too. So what I do is I usually compact it with my tongue, push it until it fills the remaining, and then bite a little, like the tip. And then it was a silly little thing I used to do when I was younger. Probably. No, I still do it now. Yep. I bite my ice cream. Wow, you probably do not have sensitive teeth then. I have okay teeth. How deep can your voice go? How deep can your voice go? How deep can your voice go? That's it, probably. Until I can't talk properly anymore. I have an acquaintance, though. He sounds like a diesel exhaust. Like it's so low. He's color purple, by the way. It's so hot here right now, says Chrysius, that I wouldn't mind just biting deep into some ice cream right now. Or you just dive into a tub of it. The old mango-licious. There is mango ice cream here. It's actually really good. Of course. That's why I don't eat popcorn anymore. Oh, mango ice cream's delicious. Hello, Sparkles. Nice to see you. Last time I ate ice cream this late. Popcorn. The box broke and I made a mess in the cinema. Worst feeling ever. Oh, yikes. Where like the underside like unfolded.
Oh god, and then you feel bad for the staff that has to clean it
Oh,
up later.
yep. The staff is just gonna look at you. Ay, ay, ay. I did not mean for them to sound Mexican or anything. It's just how I remember them to yes. I like mango ice cream, says Shadow Drake. But mango raspado just hits different. Mango raspado, what is that? Mango raspado. That's when you move a few rows forward. You're like, yep. That wasn't me. Yep. Even though I know cinemas have like the night vision cameras, they can actually see everything in the dark. Or just oblivious to it. Thank goodness. The staff did. Damn, they saw everything. Technology was still bad back then. Comic says somehow you're all making me miss avocado ice cream when I visited the PA. Is avocado ice cream not a international flavor? I thought
Nope.
it was. Really?
No, not at all. I never heard of it until you brought it up. Like, God. 3 months after I met you?
Yeah, it's really good. What?
Yeah, here in the
Oh,
US,
I didn't
people
know that.
mostly use it for savory things. So it's not really common you'll find someone make a dessert with avocado.
Ah, I see. Interesting. It's really good though, chat. I would 9 out of 10 would recommend if it was a bit sweeter. Here, we predominantly, there's a savory, vinegary stuff that avocado is known for. There is also the serving in which avocado here, so we scoop them out, right? You take out the seed, we put them in a bowl, we put some condensed milk, some fresh milk, some ice cubes, and then put it in the freezer for a while. And then you take it out, it's like an ice cream sort of deal, and it's just really good. It's when you try it, trust me, you'll be converted. Sweet avocado.
Alright. I'll have to believe you on that one.
Beth says, I don't even have it in Bolivia or Ecuador. I didn't know about it in Austria. It's really good. Oh, creamy, natural, and how else can I describe it? To be fair, I only like avocado and guacamole. Oh, you need to expand your options. Melon popsicle are the best for me. Oh, you mean, what's that brand from Korea? Melona? Have you tried Melona ice cream? It's really good. Do you know Spanish? Just the basics, because it was taught the numbering system and a few words. dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis, siete, ocho, nueve Gs, so on and so forth. Ooh, late. That's kind of gross. That's kind of gross. you, you, you eat the watermelon halfway through. You put it down and you come back for it a few days later. Yeah, yo, yikes. Ooh. Mm-mm.
I mean, I heard of people like making candies out of the rind, but
I am.
they don't like just straight up eat the watermelon with it like hands first and all that. They just scoop the melon out.
Oh no,
the rinds
that's
with a bunch of sugar.
yeah. I eat the watermelon slice just like that, and minus the green part. But Late eats half of it, puts it in the table, and comes back for it a few days later. Maybe it's like fermented watermelons that Late's into it. Yo. Late is probably a connoisseur of the blue waffles. That's very questionable, says it. So, oh, yes. Ugh. Yeah. Because of that, I'm gonna end stream. Goodbye, chat.
We got 5
Imagine
minutes.
coming back for the watermelon. Oh, it's 3 days. Still smells like watermelon, a bit pungent. And then it's like sour, bitter water. Like squeezing a wet sock where worn all day and using it as your tea. Ugh. Late. God damn. My goodness. Ooh, I lost 40 viewers because of Alrighty. I got lots of ice cream all over from Asia. Alright, Labid. I'm about to flee. Chat, with all that being said, wait, no, I have 3 more minutes. Alright, come on now. It's the last segment of the stream. Go ask your questions. Please, you're probably asking the person behind the mirror, yo. I tune in and the stream is ending. Bye bye, Firehawk. Don't worry, still have 2 minutes anyway. Hydra Gay as the model. What are you going to do after this? I am going to meet a select few people. Mr. Monster made sure to reserve his seats. Litz is probably gonna show up. She said she wanted to take pictures for whatever reason. Vesper's going to be there too. Yes, Ves, what's up?
Yep. I was about to say, you better eat before the meetup.
I'm gonna eat. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, I'm going to as well because it's
Break day from work.
10 and yeah.
Oh, you're gonna eat lunch. Okay.
Yeah, hunger.
And so let's all take a break to consume some food, and then we can go meet. We can all meet after we had some food. Yes. I don't know, Lebede. You may have to bribe the agent if you want her to call you that. Will you? Are you? How far will you go to get what you desire? Mm-hmm. Come on. I know you want to. Letting Vesper say it. One minute remaining. Geb, is it still dinner for you if it's 1 a.m.? Yes. Absolutely. Thank you, Rex. And a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alrighty-o. Which means it's time for me to say goodbye, chat. Well, how about you go start saying goodbye for us, Vesper?
All right. Bye, chat. Stay safe. Stay hydrated. And make sure to sleep plenty. Also, please at least shower once daily.
Shower once a
Take
day,
care of
chat.
yourself.
Yes, use deodorant. My goodness. And alas, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. I'll see you the day after tomorrow, chat. Preferably with more energy and a different stage. Ah, yes. Is what I said to TikTok. Now for Twitch. What do we do? Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Hmm. Hmm. Ba-ba-da-ba. My goodness me. Ba-ba. Don't mind me, I'm just looking, chat. Ooh. He's kinda cute. Is what I said to a tray of lasagna. Nope. Nada. Mm-mm. I have no idea who that is. Bum, 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 bum. Let's see, maybe, just maybe, in the art channel. Wow, those are huge! How is that allowed on Twitch? Going downwards. Damn, this guy has muscles. How is... Okay. Ba-da-ba. Damn, there's so many artists streaming. Oh, this guy looks funny. He's Asian. Oh, no. Yeah. No, I don't know that language. All right. Mm-hmm. There are so many people competing with each other in the art channel. I mean, art category. Gosh. With that being said, what language is it? I think it was Thai. I got a free sub for Corgi. Okay. Corgi Cam. Good fella. Excuse me, huge. It's TOS apparently. You know how camels have like humps on their backs? Except it's in the yeah, it's boobs, chat. Why am I even skirting around the topic? Hold on. I'm looking at like the thumbnails of the other streamers. Chewy dooby. Women are oh, trust me, especially when they're mentally unstable. They're like nice and polite one moment, and then they're like they start going haywire, and oh my goodness.
Yeah,
The
no,
possessive
not,
ones.
Not...
The possessive ones who scare.
Mm-hmm.
We had first-hand experience with such an individual before, and oh man, was that a whole can of worms.
Yeah, no, not recommended.
Or not recommended. That's why I'm very picky about but the people I meet, especially the ladies I get close to and befriend.
Didn't deal with that just once, but twice. Now that I think about it.
Yeah. But, anywho, I'm not unstable. I swear I'm not, says Bev. He's like phoning us in while riding in a Humvee, rocking left and right, dodging enemy fire, like insurgents and terrorists. Yeah. There's a reason why I don't have many IRL friends, says Late. I'm usually very picky. And him, cautious. You should be cautious, Jan. You'll never know when you have a snake amidst your company. I mean, that's not... I know I look like I leave you to judge me, Jan. Why is Gebos as always cooking right at the end? Cooking? Cooking what? Looking at meals I wanna eat. Wait. Anywho, Beth says na I have not been shot as part of the military. Gotcha. Snake. Speaking of cooking, will the new apartment have a real kitchen? That is what I'm going to check tomorrow. It is currently 1:18 a.m. I will probably be scouting the rooms after I hop off. Well, I plan on staying in VR chat until 6:30 a.m. That's when the building staff are gonna wake up. I'm going to tour the rooms, and then after that, I'm gonna go get some rest. So yes, It's a VR chat day today. It's Vesper's break day from her work. And yes, there's no stream tomorrow. Gotta say hello to friends and whatnot. Ow, cramps on my leg. And then, yes. Are we going to get Geb cooking streams? You know? If I have a good... How about this? If we successfully fund the fundraiser, that I'm not even sure that, yeah, if we successfully fund the fundraiser, I will do one cooking stream from the POV. I'm gonna buy a camera, I'm gonna strap it here, I'm gonna point it down so you can watch what we're cooking. And it's going either to be one of the Korean noodles that I really want to do, which involves cheese, eggs, and lots of seafood and whatnot. No lasagna, I need an oven. But it's gonna be something. I'm gonna prepare a special treat for it as a celebration. So yes. Green screen world. Oh my god, can I cook like in full body? So I'm gonna stand up, right? I'm just gonna walk around and hold on. I know I can mask it. It's just gonna be like this. Like, I hope I don't trip on anything.
I mean, with vibes, don't you have to have like a tracker slapped to your forehead?
Yeah,
just use that as a workaround.
I can't promise anything yet. But let's see what we can work with, yeah? It sounds like a fun thing. Let's make the thing run for a month or so. And then, yeah. Man, I'll be streaming and then doing renovations. That's a lot of work. I have to drill. Oh God, I have to transfer so much crap. Oh. Lots of vertebrae made little cracks. Are you a good artist, Gab? I don't know, you tell me. Hi there, Shikra. Shikra, that's an interesting name. Shikra. It's ending in a minute. Right. Anywho. It does not feel like 2.5 hours. Chat, I have been yapping for 2 hours and a half. With that being said, I gotta go. All right. Let's make the community meets great again. Let's all behave. Our best behavior. Let's be on our best behavior. Let's be nice to each other. and yeah, you get to meet Vesper. That's why she's pointing at me. Yes. So bye-bye, chat. I'll see you around. All right.
You have a death wish.
Mm-hmm. And so I say goodbye. Yes, that's me. Goodbye. Shoo shoo. See you around, chat. Bye bye.